What if the loudest moment at the DC Open didn't happen in the championship match? What if it happened on an ordinary afternoon during a second-round showdown that most people expected to pass without much attention? No one saw it coming. Not the commentators. Not the tournament officials. And certainly not the thousands of fans who walked through the gates expecting nothing more than another day of tennis. Instead, they witnessed something unforgettable. They watched a young player from the Philippines transform an American tennis stadium into one of the most electric venues of the tournament. By the end of the day, people weren't just talking about the final score, they were talking about Alex Eala. Long before she stepped onto the court, something unusual was already happening. Hours before the first serve, fans began filling the stands. Parking lots were packed earlier than expected. Groups wearing blue, red, and yellow proudly carried Philippine flags while others lined up outside hoping to catch a glimpse of the rising tennis sensation. Many had traveled hundreds of miles just for this match. Some had driven overnight from neighboring states. Others admitted they had booked flights across the country because they refused to miss the chance to watch Alex compete in person. For tournament staff, it quickly became obvious that this wasn't a typical second-round match. There was a different kind of energy in the air. Washington has always attracted passionate tennis fans, but this crowd felt unique. Every section of the stadium seemed filled with families wearing matching shirts, young tennis players carrying rackets, and supporters proudly waving Philippine flags. Parents shared Alex's story with their children. They talked about the young athlete who dreamed big, worked tirelessly, and slowly earned respect on one of the toughest professional tours in the world. Her journey had become bigger than tennis. She represented hope. She represented determination. And for many Filipino fans living in the United States, she represented home. As more spectators continued arriving, curiosity spread throughout the stadium. People who had never watched Alex Eala before began asking questions. Who is she? Why is everyone here for this match? What makes this player so special? Those simple questions started conversations in nearly every section. The more people learned about her remarkable rise, the more interested they became. Before warm-ups had even started, many neutral spectators had already decided they wanted to cheer for her. That's something statistics can never explain. Alex Eala's growing popularity isn't based only on rankings or tournament results. It's built on something much deeper. Fans connect with her story. They admire her humility. They respect her discipline. And they appreciate the calm confidence she carries every time she steps onto a court. When Alex finally emerged from the tunnel, the reaction shocked almost everyone inside the stadium. The applause wasn't polite. It exploded. Thousands of fans immediately jumped to their feet as loud cheers echoed around the arena. Hundreds of smartphones instantly filled the air, recording every step she took toward the baseline. Even the television cameras shifted their attention toward the stands because the atmosphere itself had become part of the story. This wasn't manufactured excitement. This was genuine. Alex smiled softly, raised her hand to acknowledge the crowd, and then quietly began her warm-up. Despite the incredible reception, she looked completely focused. Her expression never changed. Every movement looked calm. Every practice swing looked deliberate. She wasn't allowing the excitement around her to interrupt the routine that had brought her to this stage. Still, ignoring the atmosphere was nearly impossible. Every successful practice shot received loud applause. Every smile from Alex triggered another wave of cheers. With every passing minute, even more fans continued finding their seats. Commentators quickly noticed what was unfolding. "This feels much bigger than a second-round match," one broadcaster remarked. Another pointed out how dramatically Alex's fan base had grown over the past year. What began as curiosity earlier in the season had now transformed into genuine admiration. Her supporters no longer came only from the Philippines. American tennis fans had started appreciating her fearless style. Young athletes admired her speed around the court. Coaches praised her discipline and shot selection. Parents appreciated the sportsmanship she displayed after every match, whether she won or lost. That combination is rare in professional sports. Talent may attract attention. Character earns respect. and Alex seemed to be earning both. Finally, the umpire called time. Warm-ups ended. The players walked toward their baselines. The stadium gradually became silent. The celebration was over. Now came the real challenge. Could Alex live up to the enormous expectations surrounding her? The answer arrived almost immediately. From the opening rally, she looked sharp. Her movement was quick. Her footwork appeared effortless. Every shot had purpose. Rather than reacting to her opponent, Alex immediately tried controlling the tempo. The crowd responded to every successful point with growing excitement. A perfectly timed passing shot brought fans to their feet. A brilliant defensive rally earned another roaring ovation. Even when she lost points, supporters applauded her effort. That's unusual in professional tennis. Most crowds celebrate spectacular winners. This audience celebrated determination. They appreciated every sprint, every recovery, every fearless attempt to fight for one more ball. The emotional connection between Alex and the crowd became stronger with every game. As the match settled into rhythm, the atmosphere only became louder. Every hold of serve felt significant. Every break point created unbearable tension. Whenever Alex stepped behind the baseline, thousands of spectators leaned forward together, waiting to see what would happen next. Children shouted her name between points. Flags continued waving from every corner of the stadium. Even spectators who had entered knowing almost nothing about her were now cheering just as passionately as longtime supporters. Positive energy has a remarkable way of spreading. One memorable moment came during a routine changeover. Instead of sitting down quietly, large sections of the crowd remained standing simply to applaud. Alex glanced toward one side of the stadium and smiled. They were celebrating a player who had inspired millions without ever losing sight of who she was. Moments like these often become the memories fans carry home long after the scoreboard is forgotten. As play resumed, Alex looked even more composed. The pressure didn't seem to shake her. If anything, the incredible support appeared to fuel her confidence. She trusted her ground strokes. She attacked short balls with authority. She defended relentlessly whenever rallies became physical. Point after point, game after game, the noise inside the stadium continued to grow. Even veteran commentators admitted they hadn't expected an atmosphere like this during an early round match. It felt less like a second-round contest, and far more like the final weekend of a Grand Slam. As the match entered its most decisive stretch, the tension inside the stadium became almost impossible to describe. No one was checking their phones anymore. The conversations had completely disappeared. Every eye was locked on the court. Each rally felt bigger than the one before, and every point carried the kind of pressure usually reserved for championship weekend. Alex Eala stood behind the baseline, bouncing the ball with the same calm rhythm she had maintained since the opening game. She looked composed, focused, completely in control. But everyone watching understood how quickly momentum can change in tennis. One mistake can shift an entire match, and the crowd knew this was the moment when every point mattered. As Alex prepared to serve, chants of "Let's go, Alex!" echoed from every corner of the stadium. The sound spread from one section to another until it felt like the entire arena was cheering in unison. Television microphones captured the roar, while cameras repeatedly panned across fans waving Philippine flags high above their heads. It was an extraordinary sight for a second-round match. Then came the rally everyone would remember. Both players exchanged powerful ground strokes from corner to corner, refusing to surrender an inch of the court. Forehands, backhands, sharp angles, lightning-fast movement. The crowd gasped after every incredible shot. Finally, Alex spotted an opening. She stepped confidently inside the baseline and unleashed a clean forehand winner that landed just inside the line. The stadium erupted. Fans jumped to their feet. Complete strangers celebrated together. Flags filled the air while applause echoed throughout the venue. For a brief moment, Alex allowed herself a smile before immediately resetting for the next point. That quiet confidence has become one of her greatest strengths. She never lets emotions distract her from the next challenge. Her opponent continued fighting hard, forcing Alex to earn every single game. Nothing came easily. Every hold of serve demanded courage. Every return game required patience and precision. Yet the more pressure increased, the stronger Alex appeared. Commentators praised her maturity, noting how comfortably she handled the spotlight despite her young age. When the opportunity finally arrived, Alex seized it. She produced one of her best return games of the afternoon, chasing down every ball and refusing to give away easy errors. A perfectly placed winner shifted the momentum completely. The crowd exploded once again. Fans embraced one another. Children waved flags with excitement. For many inside the stadium, this had become much more than a tennis match. It had become a celebration. Moments later, Alex stepped to the baseline to serve for the match. The arena fell silent. One final rally unfolded. Neither player wanted to blink first. Then Alex attacked decisively. Her final shot flew past her opponent and landed cleanly inside the court. Match over. For a split second, everything stood still. Then the stadium exploded into one of the loudest celebrations of the tournament. Alex placed her hand over her heart, smiled toward the crowd, and raised her racket in appreciation. The standing ovation lasted long after the final point. As she walked around signing autographs and greeting young fans, one thing became impossible to ignore. Alex Eala isn't simply winning matches anymore. She's winning hearts. And judging by the unforgettable atmosphere at the DC Open, America's love for the young Filipina star is only just beginning.